Hello everyone, Shogi Harbour here. Today we're gonna cover the TTM Season 2 winner Maxim versus Katagami 7 Dan, winner versus Katagami game. It was one of the 3 games played simultaneously, and this particular game was a sente handicap. It is because Maxim is a very strong Belarusian player. He is ambitious, so he asked to play an even game against Katagami sensei. But playing an even game against professional is not a joke. What kind of game was played when a powerful Belarusian clashed with Japanese shogi professional? Well, let's take a look. So Maxim was sente and Katagami sensei was gote, and few moves onward we can see that Katagami sensei chose the 4-5 rook, while Maxim chose the static rook. The game continues naturally. Both sides are developing the pieces, slowly thinking about casting. Here you can see that Maxim chose silver 5-7, which is quite early. It is not a bad move, but it limits his options. For example, for like bogging or using the silver here, it just a little bit limits his strategies. Natural development. And here Katagami sensei finishes his Mino castle. Maxim, on the other hand, creates kinda unnatural looking castle. I'm not sure if it has a name, but the silver on 7-9 together with those 2 golds, it's pretty rarely seen. Now that we have both castles finished, slowly sente will have to show a little bit of intent to attack. So Maxim is showing an intent to attack the bishop's head, which is very natural. Katagami sensei retreats early, and as Maxim pushes the 3-5 pawn, Katagami sensei does what Furibisha does the best, protects the square that's under attack by moving rook to that file. The fight continues, pawn takes 3-4, rook retakes, and here Maxim plays a very interesting move. Pawn drop to 3-6. It allows a space for the silver to go up, and as we know from our Twitch livestream, if the silver goes to the 5th row, it's gonna be a happy silver, so Maxim assures that this is going to happen. Katagami sensei escapes the rook, and the silver climbs upward. Now Furibisha will be trying to set up a counterplay by exchanging the silvers, but Maxim avoids exchange, goes to 4-4, opening his bishop line and putting his silver on even better square. Katagami sensei has to wait, he pushes the 7-4 pawn, and Maxim jumps in to attack. Pawn 2-4, pawn takes, pawn drop 2-2, getting the knight for free. Pawn to d5 to block the rook escapes, and pawn drop 2 for free. So here Maxim will take the knight, distracting the rook, and the silver will be able to promote to 3-3. It's protected by the bishop, so the bishop cannot take it, and it's a very painful move for Katagami sensei. The only way to protect the silver is to move the rook here. The silver couldn't move because there is a knight protecting this square. And from here on, Maxim is gonna play a very interesting move. He plays 1-5 pawn, after which Katagami sensei puts the pressure on the silver, so that once the silver are exchanged, the rook will be able to activate. The silver that's in trouble will be able to find its place in hand. So Maxim is gonna play a very interesting move that impressed Katagami sensei, as he mentioned in post-game discussion, and it was 1-6 knight drop. The rook cannot run because the silver will be taken for free, so Katagami sensei is actually forced to sacrifice his rook. The bishop exchange happens, and here Maxim gets a huge material advantage, rook for a silver. As I said in the beginning, an amateur player playing against a professional player, you wouldn't expect much, but actually in this position, according to computer analysis, sente has over 1000 point advantage. And that advantage, my friends, is huge. It's almost as equal to saying that sente is winning. But as we will learn today, shogi is not an easy game, and from a winning position to a won game is a very long route. Let's see if Maxim managed to win. bishop drop to 3-8, attacking the rook. Rook escapes far away, and horse is being created, which means Katagami sensei is showing that he can retake the material and continue the fight. But Maxim will protect that knight using the bishop while exposing the fact that the king line is kinda open. The horse will go to 3-6, and the knight will promote to 1-2, pawn to 2-6, trying to create more attacking pieces by making a token. Rook drop to 2-1, pawn promotion, and lance drop to 6-6. Here Katagami sensei defends it with 7-3 silver, and Maxim will continue attacking. And it's hard to notice, but actually Maxim has lost a little bit of his advantage here by dropping the lance here. What was spoken in the post-game discussion is that perhaps was quite easy to understand how to win this game if you use this knight the proper way. One of the variations that I checked with the computer was that the bishop drop perhaps was better on the 5-5 square. After we make the same move, 3-6 horse, bishop to 3-3 would attack the silver, which has to run. And for example here, we can promote the knight to 3-2 instead of taking the lance, pawn to 2-6, and we can use the knight to attack the mina from the side. This is how to destroy the castle in the middle game in the most efficient way. The idea is simple, right? Attacking the mina with promoted piece. This position is still quite difficult to win, so even if Maxim would choose this road, it was still quite complex. In this case, he still has over 1000 points advantage. One example is simply doing this, we will be able to exchange the promoted knight for the gold. So even though Maxim was starting to lose his advantage, the game was still very complex. Lance drop to 6-6, silver drop to 7-3, and Maxim continues attacking on 7-5 pawn. Katagami sensei is forced to defend and defend because he's under heavy attack, but he cannot defend forever. Talking to 3-7, retaking the knight, allowing Maxim to retake 7-4 pawn, silver retakes, and it seems that Gote is fine. Maxim drops 7-3 pawn here, which was taken by the knight. After bishop takes 6-4 pawn, the lance is blocked by dropping the 6-5 pawn, and Maxim continues a very strong move, 7-5 pawn drop. This kind of exchange continues, but personally I was really interested in this variation because it looked violent to me. If you take the 6-4 pawn with a check, and if Kuribisha sides drops the pawn, you can actually forcefully take it with the bishop. If you were to take it with the silver, this gold is eaten for free, so we are forced to take it with the king. And here, if the lance takes the gold, silver retakes, dragon is made, and there is no defense. But actually, I checked it with the computer, and here you have to ignore this move, and if Gote goes for the counter attack, they're better. So I found this line very interesting, that even though we technically don't have a castle anymore, the king is relatively safe. So strong attack will continue, silver will escape, and here Maxim decides to go for some strong exchanges. Silver takes the bishop, lance takes, pawn drop, and Maxim attacks the head of the knight. Once more, if this is taken by the silver, the rook will be able to attack easily, so Katagami sensei will defend it with a knight drop. The knight is taken, Maxim will throw his punches at the head of the king. It's all a very critical points that he is attacking, and a silver drop, attacking both squares at the same time. But here Katagami sensei tries to change the tide of the fight, and he takes 8-6 knight instead of taking the silver. Pawn retakes, pawn drop on 7-3, and Maxim is forced to do some exchanges here. But surprisingly he doesn't retake the gold. He makes a check with the rook, which means that Katagami sensei is able to block it and de facto retake this gold. Maxim tries to attack, but as you can see, Suddenly, after all those exchanges, what is left in Maxim's hand? Well, only gold. The lance that was on 1-2, that was in Maxim's hand, the silver, the bishop. Suddenly all of those pieces are in Katagami sensei's hand. So clearly, by just this, you can see that Katagami sensei managed to deflect the attack and gain advantage from it. Maxim will take the 5-1 knight, and Katagami sensei finally will attack the king directly with his new supply of pieces in hand. Horse 5-4. Gold 7-7, an attempt to protect the king. 7-5 lance drop, pinning the gold to the king. And as Maxim sets up a checkmate threat with a gold drop to 8-1, Katagami sensei played the winning move here. Can you find it, dear viewer? I warned you, this is a very long variation, and in fact there are few ways that you're able to attack sente's king. So I'm gonna give the answer now. What Katagami sensei played was bishop to 8-7, king to 6-8, lance promotes to 7-7, knight takes, knight drop to 7-6, king 5-7, and now a little bit surprising move, 4-6 silver drop, pawn takes, court 4-7, all in attempt to distract the king toward this square, because here finally the bishop on 8-7 will be able to take the rook with a check, and no matter what you drop, silver drop, king runs, rook drop, and as the king would run here, that would be a checkmate with gold drop to 7-5. Remember, there's a knight here, so it cannot be gold drop to 6-5. Maxim of course saw that tsume, so in this position he resigned. Maxim had shown us his amazing strength by playing an equal game against professional and even holding the advantage at one point. It was a very impressive game from him. From following series, Maxim was graduated to Tourney to King, tournament for the strongest players on our server. Meantime, dear viewer, if you wanna join our tournaments, remember to check our Discord in the description of the video. And see you in the next video. Bye bye!